So here we go. I'm excited. Probably need to cover my ears. All right, guys, here we go. Catless 178 CORSA headers, double Helix X pipe. We are going to put this on my 2019. Whoa, it's zoomed in. Let me back up. It's dark outside, so I'm limited on space. 2019 Mustang GT, active exhaust, all of that fully loaded. So what we're going to do tonight, since it is dark, I got the garage door down, I'm going to at least get this thing in the air and get started, pull some of the stuff off in the engine bay, because that is where we're going to begin. Honestly, I'm going to try to keep this video as detailed as possible. It is a header install. I want to let you guys know from the get-go, if you're going to do something like this on jack stands in your garage, it is definitely possible, and that is why I actually do this stuff. That is why I created a YouTube channel in the beginning anyway, was to show everybody that you don't need fancy equipment, you don't need a lift, you don't need anything, you just need a little bit of time, blood, sweat, and tears and all that. But a header install, there's not really any shortcuts, except that I've done this about 4 or 5 times on the S550, so I'm pretty familiar with it. I can do the whole job in about 6 to 8 hours, just depending. All right, here we go. This is where the installation starts with a long tube system setup. Okay, you're gonna start in the engine bay, and we need to get rid of this strut tower brace at first. So without boring you to death with a complete 3-hour install video, you got 15mm bolts there. So we're gonna disconnect that, take the strut tower brace off, because we need to get to our battery. It's a 10mm bolt. We're gonna take this guy loose over here because you're gonna mess with the starter at some point, and then we have to tear down the cold air intake there. And that will get us started. I still need to yank that sound tube, but pretty simple. And then, so once we actually get things loose up here, we're gonna actually put the car in the air, and you do want to get this bad boy as high in the air as possible. So what the, I don't know if fun times is the word, but let the process begin, I guess.
If I bleed tonight, if I am sad tonight, I don't have a job to find. And if I work tonight, if I'm so tired tonight, I'll fall asleep when I'm home.
All right, so we have the intake removed, and that's going to give us a lot more access down here, especially when they raise the engine, which we're going to do at some point. You're going to need this free space. We have the battery disconnected, so that way when we mess with the starter, it's not going to mess anything up. But all of that is pretty much done. That's really all you have to do in the top of the engine bay. So we're going to jack the car up, get the exhaust off, and then everything is going to be combated underneath of the car. And then back and forth kind of deal. You don't need a whole lot of fancy tools. You need a lot of extensions, a lot of 13, 14, 15mm sockets and wrenches. But that is pretty much the gist of it. But it's not too bad, honestly, once you've done it a couple of times like I have. Right, here we go. It's always like 30 degrees when I can't speak. Want to work on a car. But get the thing safely in the air. Jacking rails, that is what they do. That's their job, is to make life easy. But we're going to take apart all of this exhaust back here. If you guys are unfamiliar with my car, you can see all this red stuff here. That is the BMR 762 kit. And I have that paired with the BMR 010 kit. And that basically eliminates 100% of cradle movement, and it strengthens the IRS vigorously. I mean, it really changes the car, the way that it actually drives, even on the street, but that's the way that all of that looks. So BMR is what you want to get over anything else. I promise you, I've experienced all of the other brands. BMR just honestly works better. You guys want discount codes? If you don't know about them already, they're in the description. But let's get started. All right, to start, 13mm, take them loose. Okay, so now up there is a 13mm, and then you have one underneath right there, and then that is going to separate this bracket here so you can drop your back mufflers. And then all alongside there, so you got those, and then further down you have 15mm bolts. So you just take all those loose. Then this whole exhaust system is just going to slide out. And probably helps with 2 people, but it is just me by myself doing my thing. For you guys. If you have active exhaust, do not forget to unplug it. Oh, damn heavy shit. I forgot to change my pants. My wife is gonna kill me. Oh, damn it. Wish me luck. All right, we got our dirty work pants on. These pants are lucky because we've actually done long tubes in these pants about 4 or 5 times. They're old. But, all right, so this is what we got to get rid of next, is all that crap. So on this side, which is your passenger side, O2 sensor out of there, and then one of these bolts you're going to be able to get from the bottom. Right there. I believe it's a 15, if I remember. The other side, you're not going to be able to. You're going to have to go up from the top, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But this side, for your driver's side, is all one piece. You can see there. And you have lots of room on that side. The passenger side just sucks. It just sucks. And there's a starter. So on a starter, since I'm under here, let you guys know, if you have a 10 or 80 car, it is a little bit different. You have less bolts, but you got a starter bolt there. Anyway, and then you got one on the back. You got to get to take all this stuff right there off that wire. And sorry for the lighting, but it's pretty simple. This guy pops off too, so you got to take that guy loose. Here is your passenger side, driver's side will be the same way. Motor mount bracket there. So there's a bunch of bolts you got to take them loose. I think they're 15 millimeter as well. Pretty much everything's like a 15. And then there's the bolt that is on top of the motor mount there. You don't have to actually remove that motor mount. You just don't. You don't need to. You see how it's recessed into the K-member? Unless you really are having problems, you don't really need to actually take it out. But if you do, those bolts are long and they are like red Loctited and they suck. But to get to those, we're going to go from the top side. So I'll show you how to do that. Okie dokie. Just climb the ladder. Stairway to heaven right there. Okay. Right in between the header and this AC line, you can see that there's the top side of a bolt. Look right there. And that's going to be a 15. And the best way to honestly do that is with some extensions and like a crow's foot. This is also where you're going to basically line up some extensions and feed them down so that you can actually get to that top bolt on that passenger side header. This side on the driver's side is a whole lot easier. That is what we're looking at right there. And then nothing to take loose on this side as far as those catalytic converters built on, because they are one piece on the driver's side. And then you don't have to mess with anything else really. All right, so what we have here is a crow's foot. It's a 15. And we are going to try not to fall, but snake this guy down into the engine bay and secure it. I will say, these little stubby wrenches here, you almost will not be able to do a header install if you don't have these little stubby ones. And ones with angles, if you can see. But when you're doing these motor mount bolts, you just get them loose and then you just take them off by hand. The other one, this is the driver's side. The passenger side, you can re-attack that bolt, just get it off when you go underneath the car, but just get it loose from the top. We're working on that bolt from the top. When I told you about this on top of that catalytic converter. And you just got to break it free. It can be tough and scary, but just stick with it. You're really not going to break anything. Anyway, those motor mounts are 13 millimeter bolts, and you got to get those out. There's a few of them up there. I think there's like 4. Once you have all of that out, now I've got the engine actually supported about half an inch so far. Let me show you how to do this. All right, so if you're going to jack up the engine, you're going to be careful when you do this, but you can see, hopefully there's some light. Yes, this is a composite oil pan, but if you're using a big long block like this and you go for the outer edge, it is completely safe. Lots of people do it. I've done it numerous times, never had an issue, never cracked one, nothing like that. It doesn't even flex in the center. It's very solid. So honestly, these oil pans, even though they are like this composite plastic, they're very, very rugged and tough. Next thing that we need to do is take this guy out. You can do it when it's on the car too. It's probably easier, but I already had it out, so whatever. Got one of these guys here, and then you just crank that thing off. And they're tough. They're tough, especially if they've been in the car for a while. So this car is pretty new, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Make a mark with a Sharpie. So go right there. Something like that, so we know where to put it back in at. And then what you're going to use is a T40 Torx bit. And it fits right in there, and then you'll take that guy loose. It's a long bolt, but anyway, you'll be able to separate that so you can get to all this other stuff. I've already started undoing the motor mounts there. Passenger side, again, is a lot tighter. Driver side is so much easier, I'll tell you that much. It's really not that bad. I've been at this for about an hour, and I'm almost to the point where I can actually start working on the stock exhaust manifolds and getting them loose. So it's not too bad. All right, making some progress. So this is the passenger side, and the other side is done. So we are ready to get these stock manifolds out of this thing. It is time for headers.
All right, guys, it's the next day in the morning. It is way too cold for me to open that garage up, so hopefully the lighting in this is okay. But we got everything accomplished last night, and to the point where we are ready to drop the stock exhaust manifolds. And this is the point also where we're going to get our hands bloody more or less, because there's just not a whole lot of room to work with, especially on this passenger side again. But let's go ahead and get to it. It's early morning, and we got a lot of work to accomplish.
Okay, we got everything out. Man, it's a lot of work. Passenger side, again, just nightmare. But these guys are about to go in the car. I almost don't want to because they look so pretty. The finish on these is just beautiful. They're definitely coated different than anything else I've ever seen. Something else I want to highlight is, I mean, you can't really feel, but some of the headers that you'll buy, they're thinner. But if I had to guess, the piping on this is actually pretty thick, which is good, because anytime you do long tube headers, a lot of that engine tick noise or any of that, that's just not talking about the infamous engine tick. I'm just talking about noise radiates down through headers and all that. And the thicker the primaries are, the thicker the metal, the less you'll actually hear. So if it is a thicker tubing, that is a good thing. But let's go ahead and get these guys in the car. I'm excited. And the hard part's done, kind of. All right. Do that for later. I'm going to go ahead and use these smaller bolts. I think it's going to be a lot easier if I use these guys, and hopefully they fit okay. A lot of times they'll be like a tight fit going into your block, but these should be fine. It's going to come with new gaskets as well. You can use your OEM stuff if you want to, or you can just use these. And wow, that is a really fancy zip tie. Look at that. That is metal. That's really cool. So this pretty much looks like an OEM gasket there. We'll probably use them. Why not? But let's get started. Also, these new ones are going to be a 14 millimeter. That's pretty much true with a lot of these. So that's just what you're going to need. A bunch of 13 millimeter, 15 millimeter, and then you're going to move to a 14 mil. All right, headers are installed. Nice little close up there. Everything is a very good fit. I will say that these are the best fitting headers that I have installed on an S550. They look good. Let me back up. Oh yeah. All right, so now we just got to mount up the motor mounts and put everything back together and then finish up the exhaust. But I will say, a lot of you guys are asking me, what do the rear O2s look like? Are they angled for E85 or anything like that? And I can tell you they're going to be horizontal. So what that means is that pretty much we're probably going to burn up some O2 sensors whenever we run E85. But I'm not going to run E85 all the time, so not too big of a deal. But yeah, these CORSA headers are going in
very easy, very, very easy. Of course, I've done this. This is probably my fifth or sixth set header install on an S550. So I know the car like the back of my hand. I know what to do, what not to do. And I've got about 5 hours into it right now. So about another hour or so, I think that we'll be pretty much good to go, and we'll fire this thing up. I'm excited. It's going to be loud. It's going to be awesome. You know, race car stuff. Gabe just showed up. And he's got his 2018 out here. And we're almost done. We're just buttoning everything up over here. What a mess. This is an E85 tune, but we still have 93 in it right now.
Right.
So JLT intake, and then he has an X-pipe, and then he cut his cats. Instead of ordering anything from Lethal or any of those guys, he just went and had it custom done. And if you want to go ahead and fire this thing up. Yeah, give it some gas. So that sounds amazing. If mine sounds anything like that, I think we're going to be good to go, because I did have the next pipe with the car already. You guys know that. Now we're doing the double X. So it might smooth out the sound a little bit. We'll see. But I don't want any rasp. And that sounds deep. Hopefully it'll do it justice on camera, but in person it's extremely deep. I mean, I would think that the thing has an H-pipe on it. Honestly, it's pretty deep.
This is quiet mode.
So yeah, it's still livable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to do like a side-by-side review of the two cars, because this is going to be something that I think a lot of people are going to want to do, is just cut their cats and then run an H-pipe or an X-pipe with their active exhaust, because he has that too. But and then we're gonna have catless headers with the double X and the active exhaust and try that out. But yeah, that sounds good. I like it. It gives me high hopes for mine.
That thing screams.
Oh yeah.
Going down the road.
So much work. All right, so what you gotta do with this kit too, if you're gonna run the double X, is you're gonna have to cut back on your exhaust. And we cut about this much off right there. So a good portion. The way that I did it is, I've done this before, so got under there, got everything lined up like I want to, and then put everything back in place, and then basically eyeballed it. But I've done this before, and I'm pretty confident in myself, but I guess we'll find out in a second when I put it together. Wish me luck. All right, everyone, we are ready to do this. We're on the ground, everything is buttoned up, and I am so excited. Now, I want to point out something. Like I said, in other videos, I have had other header systems on the S550 before, but there is your clearance there on your passenger side. So I have not really adjusted anything before. You know, sometimes you'd have to take apart all that stuff and just really pry it, but I will say that these, so far, these CORSA headers are, in my experience, the best fitment that I have ever had or seen on an S550 Mustang. The American Racing is good. All of them are really good, but CORSA, I'm telling you, I am impressed. And look how gorgeous they look right there in the engine bay. Man. One thing left to do, and that is flash the new tune, and then we can fire this thing up. Finally, a million years later, feels like we've been working on this for the past 6 months. But a header install is no joke, ladies and gentlemen. But if you've done it before, you know how it is. And if you're doing it on jack stands, patience. Patience is the key word there. Let's put our little SD card in. I'm going to show you guys another video how to do all this, but once you have all these tunes, you just basically go and you select the one that you want. And that's it. Very fast. And about 6 minutes. There it goes. All right, and our countdown begins. This is it. I cannot believe that we have finally done headers to the car, catless, and we're going to do E85 again soon. I'm very excited. All right, see you guys in about 6 minutes. Well, for you, it's going to be nothing because I'm just going to edit and cut. All right, what do you know? It's raining, but we're going to see if all of our hard work paid off. So here we go. I'm excited. Probably need to cover my ears. That's loud. That will wake the dead for sure. Alright, so now you know. Of course, we're going to do a full review of everything, revs. We're going to compare it with what we had before, all of that. But this is CORSA headers 178 catless double helix X pipe with active exhaust. I'll see you guys next time.